Hey guys, welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. Don here. I want to talk a little bit today. I just had a talk with my friend Ross. So Ross has been in magnetic marketing and strategic coach, and a couple of things that really stuck out. One thing is this thing called your unique process. And I want to kind of equate this to, he's an insurance guy, and what he told me, he said, Don, in the insurance industry, many times there are clients and they want to know that you offer everything, even though they're not going to use everything. And so with insurance, they want to know that you are the one-stop shop for everything they could and ever need, but most people won't use everything. But they just want to know that you have it. And this needs to be set out in something called your unique process. And this is a term from Strategic Coach. But basically what the unique process is, it's a method of sharing your story. And a lot of times you get the idea of this with the example I remember is kind of a weird one, but it's with a beer company, okay? All beer is made exactly the same way. But a lot of times the ones, they'll share their story, like how the oat is toasted and how it goes through this long process, and very kind of descriptive, sharing the story, and people are like, wow, I want to try that because of the story. But everyone makes it exactly the same way. But with our unique process, what both your patients and your referral sources need to know is everything that you do and why you're special. So that's beyond just like we have digital x-rays, we have diagnostic ultrasound, we have this, we have people, they can text us their questions, we can do referrals for them, we verify their surgery, all these things that all the other podiatrists do, but you're just sharing your unique process with them. And this can be shared both with your patients, but it can also be shared with your referral doctor. So when you make a story, it can kind of wow them. They're enamored with that whole story because people love this story. So what I would recommend is taking a whiteboard and going through and making your whole unique process and writing it out, and kind of what's the patient flow process, so people can know, wow, they do all these things. Well, these are things you're already doing, but you're just letting people know. So that was the first kind of takeaway and what I'm going to work on. So as I'm working on this and sharing this unique process with you, I'll share that. Another thing we talked about is getting referrals from doctors. And he was telling me in the insurance industry, what happens is when they have a client, right, they're either interested in getting as a client, or even they have a client and seeing kind of why they're doing business with them. Occasionally they ask them, for example, why do you refer to us, or why are you using our insurance services, or why are this or that, just to kind of dig deeper so you can get more of those like clients. And the idea came to me is, we have this list of 300 doctors that are referring. Now some refer 30,000 a year and others refer 1,000 a year, but they're all referring, right? We're seeing patients, right? I don't know if they're referring directly to us, but we're seeing their patients. And one way of doing this would be to call them up and say, thank you, we've seen your, not this amount, but we've seen like 3 patients in the last year, because that's easy to tell. Some have been $1,000, $10,000. So we've seen 300 of your patients in this last year, and we're wanting to make this process a little bit better. And could I talk to your referral coordinator, for example? And you talk to them on the phone and say, hey, I have this little questionnaire I'd like to send out to you, or I'd like to email to you, if you could just fill it out. And that can be either online or an actual paper one. You can ask them how they want to get it, and on that you would have some specific questions like, what's the best way of us sending notes? Would it be fax or would it be email? What do you like about our services? Like, what are we doing well? What have you heard? Have you heard any feedback? What frustrates you about some referring doctors, for example? What are some good things about referring doctors that we could do better? Things like that, and then include some other things. Would you be interested in offering to your patients like our webinars or other things like that? And then maybe at the end say, hey, did you know? And then share that unique story. This is how we do things. So kind of as a way to get in front of them, but this will help build more information about your referring doctors. So that was another kind of a takeaway with Ross as well when we were meeting there, is how can we get in front of this. And then the last thing, which I feel like I'm really failing on, okay, but I'll share this. He deals with a lot of salespeople, and what he's found, and this is interesting, that he has to, as he's competing with like 3 or 4 other agencies in town, he has to really offer more than the other agencies that are bigger, right? And it might be more commission, but usually it's based on training. So what he has is a 3-year training process where they get sales training, and then they get like a monthly, like 1-hour coaching, so they get coaching services, and then these like weekly sales meetings to learn how to do things better. And in the end of 3 years, he's investing about $250,000 into these people. Okay, so that's like $80,000 a year just for this coaching and the sales training. I thought, man, that's a lot of money. But he said to me, Don, if they stick around, they're going to be producing so much more, and it's going to produce so much in the end, it's going to be way worth it. And I was thinking to myself, a lot of times what we do is when we have a new doctor, we just expect them to be able to go generate patients, whereas really, as owners, we should be sending patients to them and figuring out like these pillars of how to get patients. But even if they get patients, if they don't know how to optimize that patient in terms of having them simply follow up appropriately, and there's no systems in place, or we don't train them how to explain shockwave, how to explain orthotics. And that's where I think a couple of people out there, for example, Peter Wishney, he has a course that trains how to prepare new doctors. Chris Milkey, he has another course. So these courses for new doctors, I think, are going to be very, very beneficial, that us as owners, we could pay for these courses, and it's good money invested in them, because not only will they'll stick around because they're being trained, but more importantly, they're going to produce more for us. And our job is to kind of get patients to them. So that's kind of the thought. And he said, Don, it's crazy if you have someone that just invested, let's say, $600,000-$700,000 in their education. They're really great at being a doctor. How can you expect them to be a salesperson and a marketing person and all these other things that they're just naturally not good at? That's what the business needs to do to feed them, and then you need to train them how to be good at the sales and the marketing and the repeat and the treatments and the education stuff that they're really good at. Anyway, so these are the thoughts from my recent talk with Ross. So I always get really excited about these ideas, and I will kind of share as I'm doing more of this unique process creation. Okay, guys, thanks for listening to this, and have a great day.